The mutant underground stages an all-out assault on Sentinel Services to rescue Polaris and Reed. But, you know that old friend of yours that you lost in that attack once, but he seemed to have got shot and you left him for dead, but you couldn't really confirm that he was dead? Yeah, that guy is always coming back. It's The Gifted, Season 1, Episode 4, Exit Strategy. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Gifted. So yes, of course, spoilers are ahead. And yes, you might have also noticed a little scratch to my voice. I'm sorry, I am not doing too well today. A little under the weather, but hey, at least you can't catch it, right? Unless it's a computer virus. No! Probably not. Anyway, so I'm going to try and get through this pretty straightforward. Really going to just hit on a few main things. One, of course, we have the attack. We will get into that. But the other kind of real big issue we had floating around is our relationship stuff. And look, I know it's Fox, it's a younger show. Relationship issues are the bread and butter of these types of shows. But you know, the unnecessary or the ridiculously complicated love triangles sometimes do get a little pulled out. I mean, we've got two of them kind of going on. We have, of course, Clarice Blink with Thunderbird and John there due to Dreamer's little insinuation of memory there. And this, at least, they're taking their time with. And I do appreciate kind of how it's done. We did have the first talk between John and Dreamer, mentioning, you know, hey, if you talk to Clarice about this, you're going to straighten this up. No, I'm not going to. Why? Because that would take away any of the drama. But the idea of that it was just like a dream, that she's thinking that she will just forget it. Now, for somebody that is creating a potential complication with the person they like, it doesn't look like Dreamer and John are actually in a relationship, more like she wants it, but with everything going on with the Mutant Underground, it's not really, you know, what's happening right now. But you would think that this is something she might want to nip in the bud and not let, the Dreamer would want to nip this in the bud and not let it carry out, create an actual complication with somebody that she cares about. But at least they address that idea that she thinks that it's light and that it should fade away, just sort of ignore it. That's of course not what's going to happen because we need the love triangle. But I do at least how they're stretching, I do like how they're at least stretching it out, you know, where it's just dreams and she's not trying to do anything, she's just having dreams, difficult sleeping. And then when they're having their little interactions, we had John and Clarice Blinks and Thunderbird talking together there was a nice amount of just enough physical discomfort where, you know, you want to say something, you're trying to say something, but it's not just coming out, and you feel kind of uncomfortable. They're playing that emotion well, and I like the fact that at the very least they are taking their time with it. Now, of course, John having that opportunity, seeing that there was definitely something wrong with Blink and not saying anything, he is kind of contributing to the problem, so you know when it comes up, that's going to be a bit of contention. But it's not in your face the same way as the whole Carmen arc is there with Marcos, which really is just to put a complication in relationship. Okay, head of the cartel, dad's gone, she's in charge now. Of course, it's an ex-girlfriend, this is why it's going to be complicated, so that later on now when Polaris is out, Carmen's going to be calling out on that favor. Hey, you have to come and do it. I helped you. And then they're going to find out the why, the back and forth, and that's going to create more of the necessary drama. But that, you know, that one was a bit too in my face, a little bit too kind of unnecessary. The only point that I have with that kind of on top is the whole kind of torture scene or, you know, get the information scene. All right. For a tough gangster who is tied up in a basement with the head gangster in that type of situation, the kind of let me go, talking shit type kind of thing right here, really over the top. Really, I didn't buy that. I mean, if there was some other approach or just gruel or I'm not saying anything or tough, but to throw it out in the face, It's ridiculous. Somebody in that position would know how much trouble they're in and their likelihood of death, dismemberment, destruction, slow, painful, all of that. However, despite his tough talk, show him a little bit of light and he's spilling the beans. Sure, I wouldn't want to go blind either, but that was a really quick turnaround from, the hell with you to, all right, it's in my cousin's basement, it's under here, here's a safe number here, I can drive you over there, I'll tell everybody who's in the house. I mean, he just rolled over in a heartbeat. Now, one of the other discussions they had in this show is the changing of the kids. Really, the kind of evolution of the growing up, the quick growing up you're doing when you're on the run. We, of course, had the whole Sunday morning discussion where Lauren's talking about, hey, this is the whole football breakfast, now it's supposed to make corn muffins, and isn't things different? Which is an interesting really point just to look at, is how quickly one's life can change. Even Reed sort of mentions about it in his sort of fraught discussion with Polaris, which I'll get to in a little bit. But the idea of how you can be in one thing and then suddenly something happens and your whole world is upside down and everything has changed. Not that a mutant would understand that. But we also have the kids stepping forward into attacking the convoy, into sort of helping free their father, because they have a power that would help. And of course, Caitlin's natural mom protective reaction, no, we're not going to do this. I'd like that it wasn't, hammed out, that it wasn't straight out. It was something that needed to be dealt with and addressed. It isn't just a natural reaction, is the kids want to help, mom doesn't want them to hurt themselves, but everybody grows up and all of these things tend to change. So I did like the fact that they at least dealt with that issue, but they didn't dwell on it. And that was really something, because there was so much more exciting stuff to wait for in the episode. Oh, and of course the line there, you're not going to use my own words against me, are you? Yes, Mom, they are. That is actually the whole point of that. Now, the attack, I thought was fun, was really well. I mean, and you kind of had all of your requisites set up. You had the full plan, the plan goes wrong, they have to adjust, some other complication jumps in, and then eventually succeed. I mean, it had a good full arc within it, with some good, interesting notes. One, we had Lauren using anger against Andy, so Andy could use that anger to fuel his power. We talked about last week about the dark and the light, how they're going to be focusing on this, and this seems to bring it up very more. What is the source of your power? How are you tapping into it? How are you driving it? And what is your morality associated with it? I think this in some ways might be a bad sign for Andy, because if he uses this anymore, he could definitely go to the dark side. However, I did like that once he used it and it was done, that it was over with, and Lauren apologized and they moved on. So they should be able to deal with this and hopefully do some training sequences with Thunderbird in order to actually get Andy to use his power properly. But of course, that delay put the truck in the wrong place, which means Blink couldn't see it and couldn't teleport in, so then we had to have a little bit more extended drama going on there, which was also a chance for Blink to see John Thunderbird do a little bit more of his mighty cool, awesome hero stuff, which is just going to make her even more attracted to him. So, that's what's going on. And overall, I thought it was good. When Pulse showed up, it was a nice shift. It's good to see Sentinel Services are actually using mutants against. There's definitely the tattoo on the arm, which is seeing that some type of brain control thing or something, which the group will have to dive into a little bit more. So it's nice. We got those hints. However, that was the one kind of cheesy thing in the opening of the show, is once we saw Pulse and then he went down, I was like, well, he's not confirmed dead. He's definitely coming back. Just tropish. But they worked through it pretty quickly. I loved Polaris sensing the powers coming back in her, and that was really cool. There was one thing with an invisible guy whose name I can't remember. He seemed to only be there to show that powers were going off and to get somebody in trouble, create that additional drama, because he just kind of froze and didn't dive or didn't oh, I'm sorry, I'm just going to the market around the street, what's going on here? I mean, could have tried anything to kind of cover that up. But I think that he would have at least noticed that his powers were disappearing, that he couldn't sense them using it. So, by the other token, when we had Polaris sense it, I thought that was a nice little moment. And that actually leads us right into this week's, well, Scene of the Week! Which is the pins from the leg moment. Oh, it was beautiful. That was so cool. And was really, I think, a great character moment also. Because, of course, we had Reed in the whole previous scenes talking to Polaris. Again, trying to talk about, I didn't know what it was like. And then I found out my kids. And I thought it was always obeying the law and so on. Which, is a good, is a good opening bit. Is a good statement to make. A good position to go. But I think Polaris hit him right back with the whole, oh, well, now you get it. Well, what about all the hundreds of people that you screwed over on the way to you getting it? I think that was appropriately thrown back to him as well. So, however his contrition, however his desire to sort of connect, I think the words didn't mean much of anything. Certainly with the idea of trying to attack their way out of there, and she was going to back him up, that was cool. But the moment to say, pull the screws out of my leg and use those as weaponry. A, you know that's going to hurt. B, that's a full dedication to power. That is a statement right there. Rip the stuff out of my flesh so we can get out of here. That is a statement of commitment, and that led us to that just beautiful sequence of Polaris really just going off on her powers and getting them out, and I love that whole bit. That was, of course, the big cheer. Yes, we're out. We've succeeded. And now we have Polaris and Reed back with their loved ones. And, of course, Bryce turning up the heat even more on them. All right, just a couple of small things. Speaking of Jace. I'm going to call him Bryce. Jace. Thank you. When he put Polaris in the cell next to Reed, wasn't he expecting something to happen there? I mean, some conversation, some bit of intel. I was expecting to get one shot of them pull back, and there's Jace, sitting in a chair listening to the conversations between Reed and Polaris and getting some intel. That's what I would have expected, putting the two of those right next to each other. The fact that we didn't see this, man, Jace, you're not doing your job right, man. When Marcos was coming up to the bar and talking to the doorman, Francisco, and Francisco's like, put the hands down, keep them in a fist, put them behind you. Yeah, he knows about them. And, it was just, to me, that was a funny, realistic moment of somebody who is quite aware of what Eclipse can do and isn't having any of it. Oh, and one last thing, specifically a note for Caitlin. When you have finished your giant rescue and everybody's running the car with Sentinel Services quickly behind them, maybe wait on the celebration. Okay, forget the hug, drive now. Hug later, drive now. Alright, that's it for me. Scratchy just getting too much. I hope that you enjoyed that review. It was a good episode, was fun, pretty straightforward. Can't wait to see where they're going next. Jace actually obviously very unhappy with the Mutant Underground and will be going full bore after them. So, look, I just want to see more exciting mutant power action. That's what I'm watching the show for. That's what I want to see. Anyway, hopefully we'll catch more of that next week. So, if you did enjoy this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, you know where to put them, down in the section below. Now, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Subscribe if you are not. Quick, easy. This little button right here. And I'll go ahead and throw up our latest 2 reviews right here. You can check those out. All right, so that's it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.